Hello everyone, welcome to Rajkumar Academy. Today we are going to study about 27/10/2022 newspapers. So the first most important thing, Kerala government duel over ministers talk. See guys, governor is constitutional head of the state, but the real head of the state is chief minister, and it is the aid and advice of the chief minister, which the governor has to follow. Without the aid and advice, the governor cannot act in his own discretion, even in the matters where he has ultimate discretion. The only discretion where he will not follow the aid and advice is in giving his assent to the bills. So now the governor of Kerala, there was an issue of like you know appointing vice chancellors. So this can be asked in prelims, where they may ask you role of governors. There you can also get appointing vice chancellors. Now what has happened, one vice chancellor was appointed out of the box in a illegal manner, and the Supreme Court has told that this way of appointing is wrong. So after this, what the governor did, he sent notices to 11 other vice chancellors saying why they should continue and they should send it in writing. Now, on this, the state finance minister, he had criticized the governor, saying that a person who has come from Uttar Pradesh, what will he understand about the Kerala's model and all? Governor feels it is demeaning, and he is trying to remove that minister. So here comes a crucial aspect, that is, can a governor remove the minister without the advice of the chief minister? No. Constitution clearly says any minister has to be appointed or removed on the aid and advice of the chief minister. But chief minister whom to be elected, there is some sort of discretion to the governor, especially when there is hung assembly. But when you have a majority party and the majority party comes and shows its majority, then he cannot deny. In case of hung assembly only, the governor will have the right to decide the chief minister whom he likes, and that too he has to give some time frame for proving the majority. But here is a case where the governor clearly has violated his constitutional right, and when it goes to the court, definitely it clearly indicates that governor is talking beyond his powers. Yes, the appointment of governors is always criticized. Governors have been changed frequently whenever the political parties have changed, and clearly indicating that governors are puppets in the hands of central government. To reduce this, the Supreme Court has also told that don't change governors as soon as the political parties change. Until and unless you complete the tenure and all, but due to some reasons, they also leave and move out. So, given all this, his governor's role is very, very important for prelims. Please try to read today or tomorrow about governor in your books. TN seeks NIA probe into Coimbatore car explosion case. This from 2 days back, from 2 days, I'm repeatedly telling you that Coimbatore is an hub where we have to focus, and I told you there can be terror links. And today, the Tamil Nadu government is seeking NIA support. NIA normally comes into picture whenever there is some sort of terror links associated with it. So this needs to be carefully studied because, multiple times we have seen issues in Coimbatore, right? So this case continues further. Now, quickly, let's go back to editorial page, guys. Colonialism and its discontents today. See, guys, Indian government is planning to introduce Hindi and replace English. This has not been accepted by many people. But when we go back in history, it was Macaulay who was trying to create Indian in body, British in mind to serve the interest of Britishers, which we are all aware. That famous Macaulay minute is the core of the debate that is happening even today in India. Where should we go for our own language or should we still follow English? So people say that colonial mindset is not going away, still they want English, all this and all. So don't get into the controversial part of it. But what is more important is in your history, try to study about the Macaulay's minute. And guys, read the education policy in the history. The reason for this is tomorrow in an essay or in a question, if they ask you about introducing Hindi, and if you want to criticize or give your support, if you can start your answer introduction with the Macaulay's minute or any other educational policy of Britishes, that might be good. So, try to read the educational policy in your books if you are reading Spectrum or so. Bipin Chandra, it is there in the education policy. If you are reading Spectrum in the last few pages, all the educational policies have been given. Go through that once. Because from now on, let us seriously focus about interlinking with your GS, and I am going to tell you where and what you need to read in the GS. So whenever we are seeing the newspaper in the same day, if you can look into those issues and study, or within that week, if you can complete that particular area, it would be helpful. In classes, if they have not yet completed them, then wait for it, but make a note of it. Interlinking is extremely important. The job and the man. See, yes, UK is under crisis after Brexit. Their economy is not doing well. During this, there is at least $45 billion deficit. So, what would be the budget is the one everyone is waiting to watch. So, the article argues that he should be careful and he should take bold steps not to repeat the mistakes that are being done by his predecessors. Guys, is in Muslims, there are three communities on the basis of economy, it seems. One is Ashrafs, who are called as elite class, that means rich people. Ajlaf and Arzal are backward class and most backward class. You may think, sir, in Muslims do we have caste system? Guys, in Indian Muslims, there is definitely caste system within themselves. There is certain sort of class that exists within the Muslims, rich and poor. It is the rich in any community who try to exploit, and the article says it is Ashrafs in this region, whereas Ajlaf and Arzal are the backward communities. Now, if Muslims are divided on the basis of class, rich and poor, and BJP is trying to woo the poor communities by saying that it is our responsibility to protect you people. And who are these? They may be barbers, weavers, potters, fakirs, beedi workers, etc. Now, when Prime Minister is trying to reach out to them, provide them different schemes like cooking gas, right, houses to these people, that is making others not comfortable, because, if Muslims are divided, see guys, what was Congress strategy? Unite Muslims, divide Hindus, so that different communities within Hindus would vote to Congress. Similarly, several political parties in Uttar Pradesh have tried to ensure that Dalits are separated, Yadavs are separated, so that together with other communities they can come to power. Now BJP is trying to unite Hindus and divide Muslims, so that, there will be some communities within Muslims who will start supporting BJP. So these are all the same political tactics, but used in a different manner based upon their own interest, guys. So yeah, guys, Russia is saying that Ukraine has used a dirty bomb against it. And remember, according to international non-proliferation treaty, the countries which has nuclear weapons should not use nuclear weapons against non-nuclear weapon states. But in case these people use dirty bombs, chemical bombs, biological bombs, then there is a possibility of using nuclear weapons. So Russia is claiming that Ukraine is using dirty bombs so that it can use nuclear weapons. And Russia is already informing India. Russia is talking to its allies and saying that these people are using it, so I may use nuclear weapons. India, on the other hand, is saying, please ensure you are not using nuclear weapons. Peace, tranquility essential, Jaishankar tells Chinese envoy. So, you might have heard, and I also have told you, that China has withdrew from PP patrolling point 15 in the Gogra hot spring areas, and India calls it one problem less, but there are many other problems that we need to look into. And like you know, Jaishankar is trying to say what is important for India and China is peace in the border. We should reduce the problems as much as possible so that it would be better. Amit Shah to brainstorm on internal security issues with state home ministers, right? So he's trying to talk to all the home ministers, and he wants to talk about the internal security problems that are actually present. Then, guys, GM mustard is again given approval to be produced commercially. See, guys, in 2017, Genetic Engineering Appraisal Committee gave an approval to produce GM mustard, but the ministry at that time said We are cancelling the order. We want you people to do the study once again so that we will really get to know what is the impact. In India, commercially only BT cotton is being used, and now we are also looking for GM custard, mustard. And if this is commercially produced, then we need to see what are the negative side effects and all. But remember, India is thinking of organic revolution on one side and using GM crops on the other side doesn't make sense. So we must reduce it at any cost, right? We must reduce it at any cost. So this is one aspect with respect to that, guys. In speech, minister spoke of Kerala's democratization of education. So what was he talking? He was saying that the Kerala universities work in a different manner compared to Uttar Pradesh. So no need to see them. Himachal Pradesh is just this. Include images of Hindu deities on currency notes to improve economy. We have a chief minister from IIT, like who is more scientific and who give prominence to education, saying that if you print goddess Ganesh and Lakshmi on the currency notes, then our economy will improve. And this is where the politics makes us useless. This is why, this is why Western people criticize Indian politicians, guys. I was telling you that Rishi Sunak, when he was appointed, Winston Churchill had once told that it is extremely bad to think that you people can rule. So today, when people like this talk, educated people like this talk like this, that clearly indicates why and how others look at us. Certain things should not be expected from certain people. That's what hurts us. People come out with giving us a different politics and end up like going lower than the others. Science must become the priority of space missions. We need more money for it. So ISRO chief is actually telling that we need more money for scientific budgets. Yeah. So guys, ISRO to boost Navik. I hope you are aware. US has GPS, Europe has Galileo, Russia has GLONASS, and India has Navik. Right? We call it IRNSS. Indian Regional Navigation Satellite System. In prelims match the following also it may come: US GPS, European Galileo, Russian GLONASS, India's Navik. Is this Navik is really capable of giving us real-time information. It will help us in understanding the navigation properly, right? As of now, it is used mostly for navigation in the waters and all. But if we can link it with the traditional use and reduce GPS system, it would be beneficial. Bats evicted from Manipur cave for tourism. Yes, in Manipur there is a limestone cave, and from that bats are being removed. During that they have found a new bat. That's what it is all about. Nothing much, nothing to write, guys. Don't worry. I was telling you about the plan. This is interesting, guys. Chinese firm gets a stake in German port. So the world, one after the other, is giving way to China, and Germany has given some stake in the port even after opposition. Money is very, very important, guys. Every country will fall for money at one point or the other. India's imports from China surged to record high in first 9 months of the year. I was telling you yesterday, the minister was trying to say that imports will be reduced and exports will increase. And we have a report saying that imports is very, very high. And the trade between the countries have reached $100 billion, out of which, like Chinese, with China, the deficit is $75 billion. Can you imagine? That means, what we are exporting is just around $12.5 billion, because from their side and our side, if we remove 12.5, then we have the deficit of 75. So this is extremely bad. Guys, why so much of deficit? Please understand, today China is hub of industries, and China produces lots and lots of, machines and intermediate goods. Now let me say I want to produce a car. Lot of small byproducts for the car comes from China. Large machinery comes from China. Earlier it used to come from US, it used to come from Europe and all. Now what has happened? All those industries have shifted to China. So all the equipments that we used to get from other countries are now coming from China. So obviously trade deficit will keep on increasing. That is where we are all worried about. Fine, that is where we are all worried about. So this must be there, even with respect to pharmaceutical companies. The active ingredients are coming from China because, due to environmental norms, they are not allowed to be manufactured in certain areas in India. And if you want to manufacture certain chemicals, you need to ensure that pollution doesn't happen from those industries. So in India, they will tell, you need to have steps to control pollution. And if those steps are incorporated, then the problem for us is it will cost more. So let me say I am producing a medicine. For that medicine, the intermediate product, let me say in the medicine there is a small component, and that component, if I produce in India, the cost is more. If I import from China, cost is less. Why? In China there is no environmental norms. You can pollute the nature the way you want. At that point of time, all these industries are manufacturing with pollution and sending them to India at a lower cost. Our companies are purchasing Chinese products rather than purchasing the costly inputs from our own people. So over a period of time, what has happened? All our industries are collapsed. We are all relying on China. Like this, many byproducts we are getting only from China, because of which the trade deficit is increasing. Fine, guys. So this is what is important for you guys. Thank you all.